starting us off with that amazing rendition. And I can't remember the name of the maybe so. Much for joining us today for the groundbreaking Union Tower. My name is Carol Kim, and I'm the CEO and Chair of Housing Corporation and the National City Park Apartment. SDBTC Family Housing Corp, and we have a few of our members here today. Can I have our board members, both current and former, who may be here, stand and be acknowledged? Can you stand up if you're a board member? Thank you. So this is a bit of a historic day for us here at the San Diego Building Trades Family Housing Corp. Over a decade in the making. But let me back up a tiny bit and share some history of this NCPA. It goes back over 50 years to the late 60s when a housing developer approached the San Diego County Building and Construction Trades Council, that's the umbrella unions in the county, with the proposal to enter into a partnership to build affordable housing. Now, why would someone do that, you might ask? Why would a housing developer even think to ask unions to partner on developing affordable housing? I know we happen to have some folks here whose primary profession it is to develop but even some of you might be surprised to know that was a key stakeholder, perhaps even one of the in America. The next time you run into Ted Chandler, and he's here with us. Where's Ted right now? He's from the AFL-CIO Housing Investment Trust, and you have a few minutes. You might want to ask him to share with you some of the labor history that helped shape the policies and programs for publicly supported and subsidized housing for lower income workers, their families, and those who are unable to. It's actually pretty inspiring stuff, and for those of you who are union members and or union leaders today, it's a legacy of which to be incredibly proud. But going back to the late 60s, the board of the San Diego County Building and Construction Trades Council decided this proposal was a good BTC Family Housing Corporation, which is a nonprofit. They built these nearly 23 acres made up of 400 buildings with a HUD grant, and have owned and operated this property ever since, housing up to 1,700 people. Organization 8.5 years ago, the board and staff of the SDBTC Family Housing Corporation had already begun taking the steps necessary to execute this aging property in order to increase density and provide safe quality homes, more safe quality. San Diego County and the state of California are in such desperate need. And 3 years ago, when I stepped into the CEO role here, we decided to prioritize the implementation of the plan to build a phase of what we hope will eventually be 8 phases of redevelopment that will take this community them to as many as 1,200 or more. So what you see behind me is the footprint of 2 of our outdated, behind me and to the side here, buildings which have been demoed in recent weeks, and where we will be building in their place 2 new buildings and some community space with 94 new apartments, including 24 3-bedroom apartments, 24 2-bedroom apartments, 45 1-bedroom units, and 24 of those will experiencing homelessness. And I've been burying the lead a little bit. This will be done while also providing up to 275 high-quality union construction and permanent jobs for local residents and workers, which is a huge benefit to the community. Nothing as substantive and meaningful as a project like this happens without the support and collaboration of good partners and allies. And a few of them are here today to share in this celebration. So let me start with our incredible development partner, Wakeland Housing and Development Corporation, and I want to bring up my friend and their CEO, Rebecca Louie.
Hi, everyone. Incredible speakers following me, so I'm going to go at the grand opening. But I'm this project, what it feels like forever. I checked my notes. It was May of 2007. Tom Lemon in a golf cart came and picked us up and showed us their dream. We want this to be steel, and it's going to be dream. We've since had to scale in, not quite the now, but we're going to. It's a mid-sized tower. Tower for this neighborhood. It is going to stand. But what it represents, what this project, housing and union labor, the contentious thing around the state. There's always an affordable housing being affordable housing with union labor because it'll cost affordable housing because they don't care. And I think the reality is we same cause. It is the cause of the working family who can't afford, families that live in such moved, and it reminds me how able to afford a deposit, to be able, our people here are struggling, and this project represents that all in one. You can have quality jobs, but if you don't have affordable housing, they're not going to do. Don't have quality jobs, it's not. It also really represents government partners have. We have an extraordinary amount here. State funding that allowed us to exiting homelessness, which is a game changer for them. They overcame all kinds of for this at the last minute. I mean, it was for government agencies to move quickly and that to get buried at all. The supportive council who looked us in the eye every time and the difference in the world. Carlos over backwards each they're planning the building these, and when you come into a city like they're going to help you every step of the way. It's meaningful, and it's why we're here today, so a huge shout out to him and his team. Of course, I have to thank the rest of our team, Practice Architects, who stuck with us all this way, our GC Suffolk, and of course my entire team at Wakeland, with an extra special shout out to David Hetherington, who's given up a huge part of his life, dedicated an enormous part of his life to getting us where we are today, and should probably be the one up here talking, honestly. And then I want to just take 1 minute to recognize Keith Brewer, who sadly passed away recently. He was the owner and founder of Land Surveying Consultants, Inc., and he was an incredibly valuable member of our development team, and I know he's going to be missed, and I wish he could have been here celebrating this milestone with us today. And with that, back to you, Kat.
So thank you, Rebecca, and I'm incredibly grateful for the partnership you and your team at Wakeland have provided us, and I'm super excited about what we're going to get to accomplish here together. So next, it's my pleasure. There he is. Next, it's my pleasure and honor to invite up Congressman Juan Vargas, not only our representative here in Congressional District 52, but a member of the House Financial Services Committee, which oversees institutions such as Fannie Mae, which is critical to financing housing developments like this one. So come on up.
Well, thank you very much. It really is an honor to be here. What a great name, huh? Look at that. Union? Yes, right? Yes. Yes. Tower? Hell yes, it's a tower. Not the question whether it's a tower. That's a tower. Who says it's a tower? See that? We all say it's a tower. Absolutely magnificent tower. And I normally don't make promises because, politicians are good at breaking them. But I promise you one thing for sure. It's going to be built well because it's built by unions. You bet. It's going to be the best built tower in San Diego County. And I do have a lot of people to thank, and the building trades, the San Diego County Building Trades Council, Family Housing Corporation. Carol, thank you. You guys do a fantastic job. Your heart's always in the right place. You're so effective, but your heart's also in the right place, trying to help people that are struggling to make a living, that are working hard, working people that need a hand. Thank you. Thank you very much. Wakeland Housing Corporation, the president, CEO, Regulari, thank you very much. Thank you for your tenacity and hanging in there. I know these projects are very difficult to build. I don't know if Fiona Ma's here yet. I know that she's trying to get here. The mayor, Ron Morrison, thank you very much. I mean, I have to tell you, we've known each other now for decades, and your heart's always in the right place, trying to make a difference for people that are struggling. I appreciate that very much. You got a fantastic council to work with here, and they've hung in there. They've worked hard to make sure that this is going to happen. Thank you very much. Thank you, and thank you for putting it in your backyard. So many places around the city say we need density somewhere else. We need density here. We need density everywhere if we want our kids to be able to live in this community. So we appreciate you guys very much, the courage that you've had to do the right thing for working people. Thank you very much. Thank you. County, thank you again. Appreciate JP Morgan Chase. Is anybody here from JP Morgan Chase? Okay. I usually beat up on you guys when you come before the Financial Services Committee. I'll give you a shout out next time instead of beating you up, okay? I appreciate you guys being in there with the banks. Thank you. This is the sort of thing we want you doing, right? This is the sort of thing that makes America a wonderful place to live. You guys participating in buildings like this, thank you. And I'll mention it next time Jamie Dimon comes before, instead of beating him up, I'll tell him thank you for this project, okay? Thank you very much. AFL-CIO Housing Investment Trust, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for all that you do there. I appreciate it. All the other members of the community, again, thank you very much. There's one of the things that are in here that I think is very exciting, and that is veterans. Sadly, I talk to a lot of veterans that went and fought for our country, and then they come back oftentimes with demons. If you're at war, that's a difficult situation to be in. And oftentimes they come back and they can't find a place where they feel like they fit, where they can live. And oftentimes then they find themselves on the street. And then they're thinking about terrible things to do to themselves. And the dignity of giving them a wonderful place like this, I appreciate you so much to think about them, because it really is a disgrace when you see a veteran on the street, especially after you think what she or he has been through. And so thank you again. Thank you for the trades. Thank you again for affordable housing. And think of our veterans. Oftentimes, they're left behind. And here they're not going to be left behind. And again, we need more housing. And again, National City has been a leader in this. Appreciate it very, very much that, you do have the courage, to build housing here. And I'm behind the Biden-Harris administration's plan to create 2 million more housing units. We have to do it. If we want to make sure that housing is affordable and the American dream is still there, we have to create housing at every level, from affordability to move-up housing. We need everything. And so again, I appreciate very much everyone doing this. And again, closing that supply gap means affordable rents and eventually easier pathways to home ownership for all, and that's what we want. So again, thank you. I won't go on too much more other than to say this. Great things can happen when we work together. Great things can happen, and that's the case right here. When you have the city getting together, the county, the state, the feds, the banks, finally the banks. God bless you guys this time. I don't normally say God bless the banks, but God bless the banks today. When we all get together and say, we can do this for America, we can do this for a better county, we can do this for a better city. And again, we have a magnificent union. Union. Yeah. Where's my union? Guys, come on. Those bagpipes didn't wake you up? Come on now. Union. Yeah. Tower. Yeah, you bet. So with that, again, thank you very much. And again, anything we can do from the federal level, we're here to screw it up. Just kidding. We're here to try to help in any way we can. Again, thank you very much for inviting me. It's an honor to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman Vargas. We are incredibly appreciative of you making time in your busy schedule to be with us today and for your advocacy for our communities. Next, I'd like to invite up our California State Treasurer, Fiona Ma, amongst whose responsibilities include overseeing the state's tax credit programs that help finance affordable projects like this, like Union Tower. Treasurer Ma has been a real friend and ally to us here at the SDBTC Family Housing Corp, and we're so glad to have her join us this morning.
Thank you all. Good morning. I missed my 6:15 flight this morning. I misread my ticket. I thought boarding was 6:15, so I was there by 6:15. But I'm here, thanks to Southwest. Thank you all for all you do. As the state treasurer, I am the banker, so every year I take in about $3.7 trillion. My short-term portfolio is about $180 billion, and I issue all the bonds for the state of California for all of the roads and the infrastructure, and I'm very proud of my team at the Treasurer's Office. We worked every single day, even during the pandemic, where we continued to roll out the bonds to make sure that all of our brothers and sisters were working while the rest of us were home. So that was a great opportunity to catch up on all of the big projects that we've been waiting to do without having to impact traffic. And today, I'm very happy to be here to congratulate Carol Kim, as well as the AFL-CIO HIT Housing Investment Trust folks. We have been working closely with them, with my Chief Deputy Patrick Henning, on trying to figure out how we can build more of the affordable housing units with Union. So I just think today is a great testament. San Diego is doing amazing work in this area, and we need to replicate it around the state. So congratulations to the Wakeland Housing and Development Corporation on this occasion of the Union Town groundbreaking. I look forward to continuing to work on more important housing projects and on our UC, CSU, and community college sites as well. Kevin McCarty, Assembly member, he had passed a bill for about $10 billion for more housing, but now we have a deficit, so those projects are on hold, but rest assured, they are gonna come, so we need to prepare for that. So congratulations, everyone, and look forward to the ribbon cutting of this amazing project. Thank you.
So thank you again, Treasurer Ma, for joining us, for making the time to travel down to San Diego. These people have incredibly busy schedules, so it's really cool that they're coming all the way down here to see us. One of the most challenging elements of building more affordable housing is finding local matching funds to help close financing gaps. That's something that everybody that does this will talk to you about. And from day one, the City of National City has walked with us hand in hand and supported Union Tower with the vital local funds that we needed to get this thing going. And I want to express our profound gratitude to all the city officials here today, including council members Jose Rodriguez, Luz Molina, who is the council member for this district that we're sitting in, Marcus Bush, Ditas Yamane, where's Ditas? I saw her. Oh, she's that way over there. And of course, Mayor Ron Morrison, as well as Carlos Aguirre, the National City Housing Authority Director. And Mayor Morrison, would you come up and join us for a few remarks?
Well, thank you very much, Carol. And as Carol mentioned, this site does have a lot of history. Now, when I was growing, matter of fact, my parents lived just a few blocks from here. And so when I was growing up, this was not apartments. These were World War II Quonset huts. And that in 1968, building trades came in, tore all that down, and built what we have seen here for all these decades. And one of the great things is, all too often apartment complexes go up, people build them, and then they sell them off, and it goes through a bunch of different sales, and sometimes they deteriorate, and you have different forms of management, everything else. There has been a consistent management here that has been top-notch. It has been one of the things that just makes you so proud when you see a project like this. And you look at those other units, realizing those units were built in 1968 that you see back there. And you go into them today, and they are still a source of pride. And the management here, and they're all, many of them are back here, some of the workers, everything else, and they're all to be congratulated for that and for all that goes into it. At the same time, we as a city, it was mentioned about density. We are the densest city in San Diego County. Our urban reserve is the weeds behind the backstop at the Little League field. That's it. That's what we got. So everything that we're going to be dealing with here is redevelopment, is taking down properties, building up new properties. And as I say, the other thing is we have the highest concentration of low-income housing of any city in this county. Other cities, as was mentioned a while ago by our congressman, they'll brag about, oh yeah, our county, we need to build more housing. We need to build more low-income housing, just somewhere else. We've taken on so much of that, and we're proud of that fact, that happens, and we do it right here. Why? Because the people need it, and because it is something that's necessary within our communities. And at the same time, I can remember you mentioned about Tom Lemon having you out here a few years ago. I can remember Tom bringing me out here about 15 years ago and saying, well, we want to build this project. And I said, well, what do you want to build? And so he got telling me, and he showed me these drawings. It was a little taller than that, but that's okay. And and he showed me, just what they wanted to build and everything. And I looked at it and says, okay, well, where's the parking? And he said, oh, no. He says, well, we're not going to do that right now. I said, what do you mean you're not going to do it right now? He said, well, we'll do it in second phase. And I said, well, why aren't you doing it in the first phase? He says, well, it's too expensive. So I said, it's just going to be just as expensive in the second phase, plus you're going to put the first phase as parking on top of that. And that means the second phase is never going to get built. I said, come on, let's make this thing work. Let's make it work. It's going to have to be able to work and to pull all this thing together. And so indeed, and as was mentioned, we had a situation where we have a couple of our other low-income towers that we did a refinance with and a selling of lease and everything, and we had a windfall of a large amount of money off of that, and that we could use for housing. And so when it came to what we were going to do with it, there was two projects that were before us. There was this project, and there was another project. Mac Project was looking at doing a project, and they were just starting and hadn't really done a whole lot. There'd been a lot of work done on here. You were getting toward the end of your financing, and you needed that gap. And staff's proposal was split the baby. Let's just do 50-50. 50 over here, 50 over here. Well, the 50 for the Mac project was not even going to get them even started, basically. 50 here was not going to be enough to fill the gap. So we were going to have two projects that weren't going to get built. And so I did some pushback with staff. Council agreed with it, and we said, no, let's do the majority of the money here for this project, enough so that we do fill the gap and we make it happen. Yet enough money to MAC projects so they have seed money so they can go after more funds. But let's make sure we get at least one of these projects built instead of two projects not built. And it was exciting, as I say, staff, council all went along with that, and we were able to do that, the filling of the gap. But this is something that here in National City, we have very much a can-do attitude. We work very closely with our building trades, with our unions. And myself, I was a 25-year working member of the building trades until I went over to the dark side and took this job. And and that makes me extremely proud when I see projects like this come forward. And you know, and we're proud here in National City to claim that we are a working person's town. We are a low-income town, and we are proud of what we can do. We're a Navy town. We're proud of that too, and we're a union town, and we're proud of that also. So, on behalf of our city, our council, thank you to the building trades, all that you've already done for all these decades, and what you're going to do in the decades to come. Thank you very much.
Right. Good morning, everyone. I will now call the City Council meeting of Monday, September 16th, 2024 to order. Deputy Clerk, please call the roll.
Council President Pro Tem LaCava,
Present.
Councilmember Campbell, Councilmember Whitburn,
Here.
Councilmember Foster,
Here.
Councilmember Von Wilpert, Councilmember Lee, Councilmember Campillo,
Here.
Councilmember Moreno, present, and Council President Ela Rivera.
Present.
Also attending the meeting are City Attorney Mara Elliott, Independent Budget Analyst Charles Monica, and myself, your Deputy City Clerk Jennifer Berry.
Thank you, Deputy Clerk. Let's get started with an invocation led by Deputy Clerk Berry, which will be followed by the land acknowledgement and the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilmember Moreno.
Grant those who hold office in this city the spirit of wisdom, charity, and justice, that with steadfast purpose they may faithfully serve in their offices to promote the well-being of all people.
We respectfully acknowledge that the Kumeyaay Nation are the original inhabitants of the unceded land now known as San Diego. Despite enduring the horrors of genocide and colonization, the Kumeyaay spirit remains unbroken. We honor the resilience of their ancestors who fought to protect their culture and land. Today, they carry their legacy forward, ensuring that their traditions continue to thrive in gratitude and strength. We stand with the Kumeyaay Nation, connected to our past and committed to a thriving future. Please face the flag, put your hand over your heart, and repeat after me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I will now go over how the public can offer their public testimony during today's meeting. If you're in person, please complete a speaker slip located at the entrance of chambers and place it on the top of the box indicated at the high lectern at the front of the room. Please submit your speaker slip in a timely manner to ensure proper meeting management. No further in-person testimony will be taken once the council begins virtual testimony. If you would like to participate virtually, you can do so via the webinar information found on the agenda cover page. Members of the public who wish to provide virtual testimony must enter the virtual queue by raising their hand by either dialing *9 or pressing the raise your hand icon before the queue closes. The queue will close when the last virtual speaker finishes speaking or 5 minutes after in-person testimony ends, whichever occurs first. I'll go ahead and read the record items, closed session items into the record. Conference with legal counsel, existing litigation pursuant to California Government Code, Section 54956.9D1, CS1, Rima Alameden versus City of San Diego. CS2, CR Airway Gardens LLC versus City of San Diego Consolidated with CR Epica Communities M LLC versus City of San Diego.
All right, let's hear public comment, please.
Looks like we have one speaker here in chambers. Joyce Sunyata, if you want to go ahead and come up.
Thank you, Deputy City Clerk Berry. Joyce Sunyata, District 3. I needed much more information on this case, so I am speaking for this reason only, that the accident happened involving a crosswalk. Listen to these words from the description of the case, and I quote, "This case arises out of an automobile versus pedestrian accident," end of quote. The average automobile weighs about 4,000 pounds or 2 tons. That's like David and Goliath, only Rima lost. A question for you. In this uncontrolled intersection, were crosswalk markings clearly painted on street? More on this later. Thank you. Love to all.
That concludes public comment here in chambers. I've gone ahead and started the 5-minute timer and going to our virtual queue. Our first speaker is Lori Saldana. If you want to go ahead and unmute. And could you please let me know which items you'd like to speak to?
Excuse me. Yes, thank you. I'll speak on the first one regarding the intersection safety case.
Sure.
And I understand later today there will be some additional work on transportation safety as your first priority. I would like to add to not only the weight of the vehicle, which is such a hazard to people, but the lack sometimes of visibility And this particular intersection, since details weren't really provided, it's hard to know what was the lighting situation like, how visible were people, and what time of day was the event taking place. There are so many considerations to make, and I'm encouraged that the city is recognizing that this is a widespread problem that requires to be addressed to avoid these types of legal settlements and considerations. So, of course, when we're talking about lighting, we're talking about the cost of doing that. And increasingly, we're seeing more independent, or rather more on-site energy being designed, because we want to have reliable energy. And if a grid goes out and you lose your safety lighting, then you wind up with more of these incidents over time. So I think it just shows that we need to do more on on-site energy production, ideally more solar, to provide lighting for safety considerations, not only in these pedestrian and traffic areas, but in other places as a backup system. And so I hope that you start tugging at one string about safety and a lot of other things get attached, that this will help the city consider how to redo a lot of infrastructure related to keeping people safe as we're out in the world, simply trying to cross busy streets any time of the day. So I appreciate the discussion coming up this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is the original. If you can go ahead and unmute. Can you let me know which items you're going to be speaking to, please?
Both, please.
Okay, you'll have 4 minutes. Please proceed.
So as far as closed session goes, I think it's important for you guys to do more when you are sharing what you've discussed back behind closed doors, because many times whenever you report back, you always say that there was nothing to report back. And this has been a constant issue when you're doing closed session. So if you can, provide more information to the people, because all the things that come forward, you wind up seeing them on the agenda when there is a settlement that has been set, and it's more important to share with the people the process of that. And so for this uncontrolled intersection, it's a wonder if you have actually since mitigated that since this case has arisen, or if the problem still exists, and providing more information on that I think is important. But these types of cases tend to arise quite frequently with uncontrolled intersections. And so I think it's important when you are having that issue that you go ahead and mitigate it so that more cases don't arise, and from whatever that actual issue is. And if you have mitigated it since, then you should be doing your due diligence and making sure that that reflects in the case and when you talk about it. And if you haven't, then perhaps that you need to, and you need to start doing that so that people don't get into these kinds of accidents and for injuries and different things like that. And so for the other case with the fees on for the Otay Mesa area and the sewer surcharge fees. And this was filed under the Mitigation Fee Act and a Reimbursement Act. And so if you're not following your own guidelines as far as when you're telling people or people are having fees that they incur on their bills for different things. Many times when things come forward, the people aren't aware of what's going on. It just kind of shows up on their bill, and they may not understand why. And if you're not doing your due diligence and it's causing litigation to come forward, all this litigation is paid for by the people, and it's all due to negligence of the city. And this happens every week. And there's settlements every week that come forward that the people have to pay for due to the things that the city is not doing correctly. And that's a problem. So there's more and more cases as we move along. And so it's showing that you aren't, doing what needs to be done in order to provide, whether it's information or fixing infrastructure. And, you need to prove to the people that you are, in fact, doing what is necessary um, and in the best interest of the people and not just in the best interest of the city. So I would encourage you guys to make sure that whatever the Mitigation Fee Act and the Reimbursement Act are followed, and not, sidestepped when you are bringing something forward like a fee, so that the people can be aware of what's going on and they're not just kind of surprised with it. People are having a hard time just kind of surviving right now. And so the more fees that are added, which happens on a regular basis, are going to impact their lives and their ability to pay their bills. So you need to make sure that you're doing your part if you want the people to do their part and pay these fees. So, and again, I encourage you to please add more information many times when you're doing the closed session, but also provide information to the people as far as what we're deciding or doing or talking about during closed session and behind closed doors.
Thank you. That concludes public comment. It looks like we had one other speaker, but he raised his hand after the conclusion of the 5-minute timer. So that concludes public comment.
All right, thank you so much. With that, we will adjourn into closed session and reconvene open session at 2 p.m. Thank you, everyone.
And introduce you to you, Caroline Smith, Interim Deputy CAO for the county's Health and Human Services Agency.
Thank you, Carol, and good morning. And thank you to all of the partners helping in this effort to provide housing and families for veterans. On behalf of the county's Health and Human Services Agency, I want to highlight the county's firm belief that housing is health. We could not be more proud to support the development of 94 affordable homes for families to be healthy, safe, and thrive right here in this beautiful community. It's so exciting at groundbreakings like this to envision what it will be like for the people who will live here. Families will have peace of mind that they have stable, affordable housing. There will be services for our veteran population and a sense of community that the residents can contribute to. I want to thank all of the partners who have collaborated to work towards this vision: the City of National City, San Diego County Building Trades Council, the State of California, and all the development and funding partners that helped to make Union Tower get to this milestone, especially the Wakeland Housing and Development Corporation. I want to give a huge thank you to our county team, as Carol mentioned, at Housing and Community Development Services. Our Assistant Director, Nick Martinez, Letty, and Gabby are here joining us today, and I know they've poured a lot of work into making this happen. We all know how important it is that we're here today. For too many San Diegans, housing affordability is out of reach. And that's why the county, with our partners, are focused on efforts to tackle the housing affordability crisis through a number of innovative endeavors. We are all in on the creation and preservation of affordable housing. Our $3.5 million investment from the Innovative Housing Trust Fund and the allocation of 24 project-based vouchers is just one part of the picture. I want to thank Congressman Vargas and his team for continuing to support the VASH vouchers coming into the County of San Diego. And these 94 homes at Union Tower are going to change lives for the better. We know we had a lot of work ahead of us, but together we're improving the health of our residents, creating a safe living environment, and cultivating opportunities for people to thrive. Without a home, you don't have health, and Union Tower is a step towards providing both in this community. Thank you.
Thank you, Caroline. We are deeply appreciative of the county's support and partnership that brought us to this day. Next, I'd like to bring up Eri Kamayama, who is from Chase Community Development Banking. She's the one that Congressman Vargas is going to say nice things about the next time he has the opportunity to speak share a few words with us about Chase's role and partnership in the Union Tower project.
Good morning and congratulations. And thank you so much, Congressman, for the great introduction for Chase, JD Morgan Chase. So I'm thrilled to be here with all of you to celebrate this special project. And Chase is providing construction financing through a unique partnership with AFL-CIO Housing Investment Trust. So thank you so much, Ted. And it has been great working with a mission-driven lender like AFL-CIO Housing HIT. So thank you so much. And I'm a banker, but I also have a background in urban planning. So I see a tremendous value in projects like this. I know that the National City Park Apartments has been here and the important infrastructure and asset to this community. And housing is infrastructure, right? Without it, there's no community. So it is so important to preserve it. And this Union Tower project will not only preserve housing units, will increase the number of units, and also become a catalyst to bring in new life and new energy to this community. But I hear that so many challenges that you've all went through for this past decade. I'm just being brought in for the last year, but still was a quite adventure. And especially because of the complexity and the time when all the prices were going up, materials, labor, not to mention interest rates. So, I just admire great efforts and, creativity of, you, Carol, the group, and also Wakeland Housing to manage the costs, bring in new funding sources, and to close this complex financing, all these financing sources. And I've known Wakeland for a long, long time. And they are one of the very best affordable housing developers in the state. And they have expertise in bringing financing and putting together competitive, applications, and also they know how to build. And above all, I just, like working with them, right? They're such a nice group of people. And, that group of Peter, David, and also Emma have been amazing throughout this process of, stressful process, being calm, always smiling and patient. And I just appreciate that, treating us as a true partner. But I also know that David, he's the nicest guy on the earth, but I also know that he kind of almost lost a couple of times, right? So that's how challenging this project was. So, and I also thank all the great financing partners on this project, the City of National City, San Diego County, Hudson Housing Capital, HCD, and AFL-CIO. And, I live and work in LA, so it's kind of refreshing to see everybody trying to work together, the city and county, right? So great, congratulations. And Chase is committed to continue to invest in affordable housing. And please, I don't get to see Jamie Dimon, but please let him know about Union Tower next time. And we're thankful for allowing us to be part of this amazing project. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being with us, Eri. Last but definitely not least on our list of program speakers today is Ted Chandler, Senior Managing Director of Strategic Initiatives at the AFL-CIO Housing Investment Trust, who is not only providing financing for this project, as has been mentioned, but has served as my personal housing development Sherpa over these past few years, providing wise counsel and steady support. So Ted, can you come up and please share a few words with us? Where's Ted? Oh, there he is. He was on that side.
Thanks, Carol, and thanks to all of you. And Carol, thanks for the shout out earlier to anyone who wants to learn the history of union involvement in affordable housing. I could take you back to 1925, but I won't do that right now. I'll spare you that right now. The AFL-CIO Housing Investment Trust is a $6.5 billion fund that invests union pension capital in the construction of affordable housing. That housing is built with 100% union labor. That's a requirement that we have. We're investing $27 million in Union Tower here right now. That's part of about $1 billion that we have invested around the country right now in 40 affordable housing developments. So we're very proud that in so many states, in so many communities, we are able to facilitate to get to that 100% union labor. There's a lot of partners to thank here who have been thanked. Ari, I want to thank you, our co-lender at Chase. So we're in a partnership with Chase in bringing our financing here. We're also working with Fannie Mae and Congressman. Love to talk to you about those programs, how we work with Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac so often. I also want to give thanks to Imari McClellan, who's on our team at the Housing Investment Trust. Imari has been the Radar O'Reilly of all the development that we do, always anticipating what's going to be needed. And I want to say thank you to some of the professionals, the lawyers, as well as NCPA folks. Jody Barthel, the COO, CFO of National City Park Apartments. Jody's just been terrific. Marshall Scar, I don't see Marshall here today, but he's the transaction lawyer. Ricardo Ochoa on all the labor issues, of which there's an occasional labor issue that arises. So, which we work. No, Ricardo's just such an expert on this. The folks I particularly want to thank are the members of the board of directors of National City Park Apartments, led by Dave Gauthier, his predecessor, Peter Zavagnier, who asked all the difficult questions about how to make a development like this happen. A lot of times, owners are just happy to sit on the project that they own, collect the rents, and never think about how they can improve, add to the housing stock. And it's so important here that this board has confronted that to say that their predecessors had the vision and had the commitment to get National City Park Apartments built, and now it's incumbent on this generation to take that forward. But I'm so impressed with this board. We sat these last couple of years, I've been involved many years, but last couple of years as they've asked the tough questions to go ahead here, and also provided amazing support to Carol Kim, who is the real champion here, who has really rallied a very large team, and this is that very large team, to make this project a reality. They've had your back, Carol. You've had our back as we've had to confront difficult issues and getting this team in the right direction, regardless of the challenge: funding, labor, permitting, approvals. Carol's been there every step of the way, and then I would occasionally get a text in the late at night saying, Ted, I was just thinking about what a privilege it is to be able to serve the families, to build affordable housing, to create careers in construction. And I just think to take that moment to do that, Carol, that really stays with me. We're very proud to be able to invest the money the folks who are building this project earn for their hard-earned pensions. What that means is that the people who are building this development are also the ones who are financing this. It's their money that's making this a reality. So thanks to all of you for putting your confidence in us, and look forward to the next 7 phases here. Thank you.
Thank you, Ted. And one last acknowledgement of gratitude. Ted kind of touched on it for our team here at National City Park Apartments, without whom none of this would have happened. Led by our CFOO, Jody Barthold. Jody, where are you? All right, there's Jody. And if you're an NCPA team member, can you raise your hand? There you go. They're all over. So this is something that we've all been working towards for many years, and definitely very intensely over the last couple. And so just want to acknowledge how much work everybody's been doing, while also doing their regular day job of running and operating the actual serving our tenants at NCPA. So in closing, I'll say that this housing project has been a huge undertaking, and it has required a lot of heavy lifting by multiple partners and stakeholders, despite there being such an urgent need in our communities for housing that working people really they require, frankly. And I just want to note, for those of you who are here who are policymakers and who are decision makers, it really should not be this hard. I mean, this was hard, guys. I do a lot of hard work, and this was hard. So I'm just going to say, while I have all these important people here, I'm just going to urge you all to do everything you can to help make this process better and easier, without compromising on the job quality for the workers building and operating the housing. Because frankly, if we are building affordable housing without paying prevailing wages and providing those types of union benefits, you're actually creating a market for affordable housing, which is a little bit sick if you think about it. So we want to make sure that we can do this differently. We can do it differently. We're demonstrating that here today. It can be done and must be done. And I just want all of you to understand that the building trades unions will always be a partner and an ally in working towards achieving that. So thank you all for being here today. Thank you for contributing what you have, and we're looking forward to doing a lot more together in the future. And now we've come to the fun part, the groundbreaking. So we've got a ton of folks who obviously deserve to be part of this. So we're going to be doing 2 rounds of photographs, I believe. So if you're in the first round, I think AJ mentioned it to you when you got here. Could you come on up, and then we'll do a second round after that. Thank you.
Carol, you want help moving the podium for the picture?
Yes, actually. There's all these mics. Hold on 1 second. Yeah. Need their mics back.
Okay. And then
Thank you.
the cord's caught underneath. I'll take it.
We got our eye out, you guys.
That's what we're here.
Mike?
Yours?
Are these yours?
This one's mine I'm holding, but I don't know where it's tied into now.
I got my work boots on today.
There you guys, we're all allowed, huh?
They pulled out of them.
Where we go? Who would go in there?
I think we're just going forwards, right? 1, 2, 3.
This is the Puente Hills landfill outside Los Angeles, California. The first truckload of trash was dumped here in